The Arctic Cat Prowler is an all-terrain, all-purpose, off-highway vehicle for recreation and work. Its rugged design and engineering provide you with a superior ride, comfort, and utility all in one versatile machine. However, the Prowler is not a toy. It is made for mature, experienced operators only. The Prowler handles differently from other vehicles, such as motorcycles and cars, and your safety depends on how safely you operate this machine. Please make sure that anyone operating this vehicle has a valid driver's license and no one under the age of 16 years old operates this vehicle. Also, Arctic Cat recommends only appropriate-sized passengers ride in this vehicle. Passengers must be able to place both feet on the floor while keeping their back against the back of the seat. Before using this vehicle, it is extremely important that anyone operating the Prowler reads and understands the information in the operator's manual. The manual includes important details about operating the vehicle safely and about proper maintenance. Properly maintaining the vehicle is an important part of safe operation. Watching this video is not a substitute for thoroughly reading and understanding the operator's manual. Here's a quick checklist to help you and your passengers avoid injury or death. Always inspect the vehicle carefully before operating. Read and understand the warning labels on the vehicle. Always wear the seatbelt when operating or riding as a passenger. Never carry a passenger in the cargo box. Avoid paved surfaces and public roads. Always wear an approved helmet, eye protection, boots, gloves, long pants, and long sleeves. Never use alcohol or drugs before or while operating this vehicle. Always go at a speed appropriate for the terrain, visibility conditions, and your experience. Never attempt stunts and jumps. Never operate this vehicle in fast-flowing water or water deeper than the floorboard. Never operate this vehicle with the cargo box raised or removed. Never operate with the canopy frame removed. And always be careful making turns, crossing obstacles, and operating on hills and in unfamiliar and rough terrain. See the operator's manual for more information on these and other safety procedures. Before operating, always inspect the vehicle to make sure it functions properly. See the pre-start, pre-operation checklist in the operator's manual. Check the brakes by making sure the pedal is firm and rests near the top of its travel range. Check that the fluid level is correct. Check for fluid leaks. Then set the parking brake. Check that the steering is free with no binding or excessive free play. Check that the accelerator is free with no binding and that it freely returns to the idle position. Then set the shift lever in neutral. Check that the coolant level is at the bottom of the radiator neck. Check that the oil level is between the full and add marks. Check that the gas tank is full. Check that the differential or rear drive fluid is at the proper level. And check around the machine for fluid leaks. Check that the suspension ball joints and tie rod ends are free and secure. Check that the shocks are secure and not leaking. Check that the preload on the shocks is the same on each side, and clean out any debris caught in the suspension. Check that the headlights turn on and off and that the high-low beam works. Check that the tail light and brake light works. Check that the two-wheel, four-wheel drive selector works and set it to two-wheel drive. And check that the differential lock works and set it to unlock. To check the air filter, remove the seats and console. Check to see if it needs cleaning and that it is free of debris. And check that the ducting is secure with no holes or tears. Check that the tires are properly inflated. Check that the treads are adequate and there are no cuts or tears anywhere in the tires. Check that the wheels are secure to the hubs and the hubs are secure to the axles. And check for cracked or bent rims and replace damaged wheels before operating. Check for loose nuts, bolts, latches, and other fasteners around the vehicle and tighten any that are loose. And check that the hood, cargo box, and seats are secure. Check that the seat belts are in good condition and that they operate and adjust properly. Make sure to correct anything that needs repair or replacing before operating. When you are sure that the vehicle is in good operating condition, you are ready to ride. When starting the vehicle, always make sure it is on a flat, level surface with plenty of ventilation. Running the vehicle in an enclosed space can produce deadly levels of carbon monoxide. Here's how to safely start the Prowler. First, step into the vehicle and sit down. Fasten your seatbelt, and if you have a passenger, have them fasten their seatbelt. Set the parking brake. Shift into neutral. Turn the ignition switch clockwise for a maximum of 8 seconds. If the engine does not start, repeat this procedure up to 2 more times. When the engine starts, let it warm up for 2 to 3 minutes. If the engine has been idle for a long time or is extremely cold, you might need to prime the engine. Pump the primer 3 times and follow the start sequence, taking care not to crank the engine for more than 8 seconds at a time. The primer is located under the center console on carbureted models only. The automatic transmission has high and low ranges in forward and a single range in reverse. The high range is for normal riding with light loads. Use the low range for heavy loads and towing a trailer. Low range is slower and provides greater torque to the wheels. To shift into high range forward from neutral, move the shift lever to the right, forward, and then left. To shift into low range forward from high range, move the shift lever to the right, then forward again. To shift into reverse from neutral, move the shift lever backward into the reverse position. Always come to a complete stop on level ground before shifting from one range to another or into reverse. Once the engine is warm and you're ready to drive, apply the foot brake and shift into the appropriate forward range or reverse. With the foot brake applied, release the parking brake. Then release the foot brake and slowly press the accelerator to start moving. Always keep your arms and legs inside the vehicle. To slow down or stop, release the accelerator and press the foot brake. Always allow plenty of room and time to stop smoothly. However, always be prepared to stop quickly. If the wheels lock, release the brake pedal for a moment and then reapply the brake. On slippery surfaces such as mud, ice, sand, and gravel, you may have to pump the brake rapidly to reduce skidding. Never ride the brake. Even minimal pressure on the brake pedal causes the brake pads to drag on the disc and may overheat the brake fluid. To park the vehicle, after coming to a stop, shift into neutral, set the parking brake, and turn off the ignition. Avoid parking on hills to prevent the vehicle from rolling downhill unexpectedly if the parking brake relaxes. If you must park on a hill, shift into low range forward, set the parking brake, and block the tires on the downhill side. You'll find that turning is easier in the 2-wheel drive setting. In 4-wheel drive, you need more effort to turn. If you lock the differential lock in 4-wheel drive, you'll find turning is harder, requiring more effort. Never drive faster than 10 miles per hour or 16 kilometers per hour when the differential is locked. When approaching a turn, release the accelerator and gradually apply the foot brake. Turn the wheel as necessary, ensuring you do not oversteer or turn the wheel unevenly. As you come out of the turn, gradually resume your appropriate speed. Always slow down to a safe turning speed before turning. The sharper the turn, the slower the speed. If the vehicle starts to tip or the wheels come off the ground, immediately widen the turn by straightening out the steering wheel. When driving on hills, keep both hands on the steering wheel and avoid hills that are steeper than 15 degrees. Always drive straight up or straight down the hill. To drive uphill, as you approach the hill, slow down and stop. Shift into low range. Select 4-wheel drive for traction, then slowly accelerate and maintain a constant speed. Don't attempt to turn around on a hill. If the vehicle stalls on the way up, press the foot brake, shift into reverse, and slowly back down the hill. To drive downhill, as you approach the hill, slow down and stop. Shift into low range and release the accelerator to allow maximum engine braking. On the way down, use minimal braking to maintain a slow speed. Always use extreme care when driving on hills. Crossing an obstacle, such as a log or rock, can be hazardous because there is a possibility that the vehicle might tip. When approaching an obstacle, stop the vehicle and shift into four-wheel drive. Then approach the obstacle as close to 90 degrees as possible. Keep your speed slow enough to maintain control and fast enough to maintain momentum to help you power over the obstacle. When using reverse, avoid making sharp turns. Always know what's behind you before you back up. Have someone watch for you, or stop the vehicle, get out and check what's behind you. Always back up slowly. If you lose control on a slippery surface and start to skid or slide, turn the wheel in the direction of the skid. Keep your foot off the foot brake until you stop skidding. Then stop and shift into four-wheel drive to continue driving across the slippery surface. Never drive this vehicle in fast-flowing water or water deeper than the floorboard. When crossing water, the tires add flotation to the vehicle, which reduces traction and control. Always check the depth and current of the water. Drive with extreme care, go slow, and watch for obstacles hidden under the water. And make sure there's a safe way out of the water on the other side. Always tread lightly by looking for good places to cross a stream, places where you won't tear up the banks or disturb the bottom of the stream. When you have cleared the water, dry out the brakes by briefly pumping the brakes or applying light pedal pressure while moving. Before going far, make sure the brakes work. If you have to cross a road or highway, stop on the shoulder and check both directions for traffic. Avoid crossing near a blind corner or intersection. Assume other vehicles don't see you, and if they do, they don't know what you intend to do. Drive straight across to the opposite shoulder. Make sure you have enough time to get the vehicle off the road should it stall. Finally, it is illegal to cross roads in some places, so know your local laws. In cold weather, check that all the control levers and pedals move freely and that the floorboard is free of ice and snow. With the transmission in neutral, check that the vehicle can move forward and backward. The tires could freeze to the ground and the brake pads could freeze to the disc, preventing the vehicle from moving. Driving on snow and ice requires practice. Learn how the vehicle responds to steering and braking in a safe place before going out riding. Do not drive on a frozen body of water. The vehicle could break through the ice, causing damage, injury, and death. See your operator's manual for more information about driving in cold weather. Carrying cargo or towing a trailer has a huge effect on the handling and control of this vehicle. For example, it takes more effort and distance to stop a vehicle under load than it does when unloaded. The distribution of weight can vary depending on the items carried. Evenly distribute the weight of your load, especially for cargo that is heavy or has a higher center of gravity. Never exceed the load capacity of the vehicle, and be sure to tie down any items that are stacked. Always maintain a slow speed. Avoid sudden acceleration, quick maneuvers, and sudden stops. When loaded, practice driving with your load on a flat surface, away from people and other obstacles, until you feel comfortable with maneuvering and stopping the vehicle. Never operate the prowler with the box tilted up or removed. Also, be careful to avoid pinching your fingers when dumping or tilting the box. See the operator's manual for more information on hauling cargo and towing trailers. If you need to transport this vehicle, always keep it on all four wheels, set the parking brake, shift the transmission into low range, and securely tie the vehicle down with appropriate straps. The Prowler is a powerful off-highway recreational vehicle. We want you to enjoy your vehicle for years to come, so please follow these safety procedures, read and understand the operator's manual, and drive with extreme care. Thank you for choosing Arctic Cat.